Good afternoon. Muhammad Adil. I am working in Department of Health in IT operations. I have been involved in network security as well as IT service management, and we have ourselves digitized many IT processes, and they were we used to use papers, and the form used to flow from one place to another, and we were able to minimize the time and effort, and many of the processes, they are now online, and our management, they can approve, and there's a workflow, and I would say that our management as well as our users, they really benefited from the digitization of many IT processes. So as the topic is digitization of government processes and service delivery, I would like to start with Mr. Osama. Mr. Osama, as you know that the technology has evolved, and we have there's a tremendous advancement in technology, in artificial intelligence, in data science, and infrastructure also supports you to enable digitization. So how do you think, being a senior official in government of Dubai, how do you think that we are trying to achieve those expectations from public?
Okay, thank you very much for the question. So actually I work for Dubai Health Authority. My background is technology actually, but I've been working within the health informatics or the medical field for around 7 years now. So just getting the answer from the medical perspective, so we are seeing now the technology is getting more and more involved within healthcare and healthcare delivery. So for the last maybe 6 or 7 years now, even the technology is changing the formula or the interaction between doctors and patients. So normally 10 years ago or even before that, so if you get any symptoms, you are not feeling not good, you just rush to your doctor. So doctor was your first gate to help your care delivery. Now doctors are becoming some sort of your first, second opinion. So actually if you have any issues or any worries, now you jump to Google, now you jump to mobile apps, now you jump to these kinds of technology even before you reach to the doctor. So now even doctors and healthcare organizations are forced now to change the interplay between them and their patients. So even the workflows, even the interactions now are changing because of the technology. So I can give you one example for that is, for example, telemedicine. So now patients are trying to get care in a more convenient way. So today, if I'm a diabetic patient, I need to I have a follow-up visit with my doctor. I don't need to get permission from my work and then go through the traffic jam for 2 hours and maybe spend another half an hour looking for a parking until I get only this 15 minutes with my doctor. So now it could be a mobile app, it could be a telemedicine technology that I can do when I am at home or at job. So this is the way that people and governments now looking into technology from the healthcare perspective. So different way of doing business.
Yeah. Would you like to narrate any example which you have implemented in your organization?
Yes, so for example, within telemedicine, so DHA has already implemented telemedicine, especially for patients coming from rural areas like Hatta. So now they don't need to go all the way to Rashid Hospital or Dubai to get the what we call them the subspecialties, which are only located in Rashid Hospital and Dubai Hospital. So through telemedicine system, now they can consult the consultant. So this will save time, efforts, and everything.
Okay, it's valuable input from Mr. Osama, and I would like to ask Ms. Shirley that for any digital transformation project, customer feedback is of paramount importance. So how do you think that governments or even private sector, they can incorporate customer feedback during the life cycle of any digital transformation project?
Well, I think first of all, if that's working clearly, it doesn't sound very loud to me. That's it. I think the key thing when we're talking about digital services with our communities is first of all really trying to understand if everybody has that connectivity in the first place to be able to access those services. That might be a given in some parts of the world, but in parts of Peterborough there are areas where people haven't even got access to Wi-Fi and the internet in some of our more deprived communities. So actually when we're trying to digitalise services, it's really important to understand what challenges we're actually trying to address in the city to start with. And some of the other things that we talk about is when we're trying to move to more digitally designed services, is the public have really high expectations now of what a digital service looks like. So we're really used to going to certain websites and apps and doing things because we choose to do them. So we'll order some transport from Uber and just do it like that, and it'll be a really effective service. And we'll go to Airbnb and book some accommodation. And again, it's been designed to be done that way. So it's really efficient, it's really effective. And as a user, we can just crack on with it. But organisations like my own, a local government organisation in the UK, we've been operating for quite some time, for a whole number of years, and we have so many different systems. But as a resident in Peterborough, as far as you're concerned, you're talking to the local council. So you expect that person or that first experience you interact with to have the answer. And actually what we've got is a lot of different legacy systems, all that store information in slightly different ways, all which refer to specific things, like maybe a building or an asset, all using different terminology and references. So actually providing a simple digital experience for people is far from simple behind closed doors. So what we've learned is it's really important to understand how you can implement some changes and you can do them in an effective way, because what we all realise is if we get something wrong, it's really hard to encourage someone back to try it again. You've kind of got to get these things right straight up. So that's something that we've been working on really in a real serious way in Peterborough, trying to understand our different users, segmenting our society in order to make sure that we're not treating everybody in the same way. I think that's people's concern when it comes to digital. People think, oh, I'm the same as everyone else, they won't understand my needs. But actually, if we can get a lot of people's queries and concerns addressed through digitalisation, then that gives us more capacity to deal with those more challenging situations.
Okay, thanks a lot for your feedback. Now, I would like to ask Mr. Yusuf, when it comes to digitization of business processes, especially the back-end ones, usually they give you tremendous results in terms of cost saving, in terms of your time saving. So would you like to elaborate on any effort which has been done in your organization, and if you have any statistics which can be shared with the audience?
Yes, first, thank you for giving us the opportunity to present one of the really good cases in Ajman government in specific. The contract leasing or the lease contract at station service in Ajman, which is equivalent to Ijari in Dubai, which the name for it is Tasdeeq. Now, in the early stage, we had 2 years back, we had a meeting, and due of the customer engagement in that area, they came to the business center to do that at station service, and they take the papers to continue their kind of approvals for visa or for medicals or whatever is their renewal requirements. There were a simple meeting where some of the people came in from the organization, said we need a new queue management system to make the people in the queue move faster. And to be frank, His Highness, the chairman of Ajman Municipality, Sheikh Rashid bin Hamid Al-Naimi, said, I don't think that the queue system will change anything. It might just reorganize things, but it will not change that 1,000 customers coming to the service center at that date. It will not change. It will be the same amount of people visiting the center. It only will tell them what is their time and what time they have to be served. That's all. That's not an add value. I need a change. So we had a meeting internally, another meeting, a brainstorming session, and it's not a technology. We changed the process. We had some information and some statistics that says that we figure out that some of the information that we have is like we have around 100 to 130,000 customers yearly that visit the center, the business center, just for that stamp. So it's not every time the process is digitized is successful. It will be successful if there is a support from the other entities. And I would like to mention that the lawmakers and the law itself and the regulation plays a very big role in the success factor of any success story when it comes to the digitization world. The past session was talking about blockchain. What plays a very big role in their success is the law, is the regulation. If the regulation stops them, they cannot work, like what's happening now in China. So what happened is actually we changed the law. Rather than asking the tenants themselves to come and to take that approval, we said that the property owner or the real estate agency has to do that. So from 100,000, 130,000 customers, our scope become more focused on 3,700 customers. And that's a very big change. And then we say that this can happen from your offices, not from municipality premises. So you do it from your offices. So just imagine that around 400 real estate agencies available in Ajman, that small city. We have distributed that transactions among all of those, including the property owners, which they manage their properties by their own. They don't manage it through the agencies or the real estate agencies. That is a big change. It has supported us in the way that we do the transaction. The payment process itself, which it is a challenge, in the first 7 months, rather than paying through the cash, 70% of the transactions, around 50,000 contracts being paid online. That's a very big chunk from the transaction itself. Whatever is the 30% was due of the amount. Some of the amounts are beyond 100,000 dirhams due of the speciality of the contract, which actually imposing a forcement that people have to pay by cash. And that channel still is available. So this is a success story. 130,000 customers, they used to have around 4 or 5 visits to take their documents to get it ready in order for them to go and to finish their business as well. This has changed, no more.
Yes.
And some of the transaction now is taking less than 5 minutes in approval. 3 days to 5 minutes. We have some records also, which we are actually exchanging with Ijari, which it is 30 seconds. We have some of those, but that's not what we are trying to do. By the end of this year, this process will be around less than 2 seconds, because we are actually engaging Emirates ID to be part of our services, which at the end, the municipality will not be engaged in the process itself. It will be Emirates ID approving the fingerprint for the tenancy and the property owner or the agency. Both of them, they agree. Similar kind of blockchain concept, much faster. Same time, the contract become ready, rather than approval from municipality. So we are relying on making sure that these type of business become more efficient 24/7 by the end of this year, inshallah.
You rightly pointed out that not only along with digitization, we need to improve the business process. Because if there is no improvement in the business process, of course, the same will be translated into the digital process, and you will not.
I think in the next era that we need some people from the law has to study in the IT side. This is something that will support. They have to be, because the idea is, how do you digitize if you explain for someone does not know what is the digital area, and the technology become much faster. This blockchain is not something new, but the concept itself came because of the way that exchanging is not, the trust is not there. And the trust is not there because of lawmaker or the legal side does not allow you to do that type of business, because they don't know what will happen after. They think about the court. They don't think about the today business. That's what's happening in their minds. You have to think about what they think in their mind. So you must make them trust or understand the technology behind so they can flat for you or make for you a law that support you in your ongoing development. That's it. And that's why the DHO or Dubai Health Authority at DHA is actually successful in some of the areas, because not everyone will adopt this type of technology to do the vital sign system remotely a long way. It has to be a human. How do you make that sure through the legal part that's supported? It requires a lot of efforts as well.
Perfect. I would like to ask you a supplementary question, since you mentioned that a lot of people are doing digital payments, but however, as per my observation, still people are reluctant to perform digital transactions. So what do you think can be done to encourage people to do more digital transactions, especially in this region?
The region has, let's say, the option. If you get the support, what we have done is actually we have these discussions how to attract people to this payment. It is not easy to attract people for the online payment, but you should give them something. We have launched in 2014 an application for mobile parking, and it's simple application like other applications. But what makes it different is the deduction, or the way that we work with them is telling them that you have an option for a bonus. So that's what attracts people. You tell them that there is a discount. If you pay for 10 days, you get 60% discount. That's what's attracting them, and that has to happen through what? Through the Visa payment. When it comes to recent agreement with Payfort, we had an agreement in Jitex with Payfort, which it is an Amazon company now. We have opened around 5 new type of payment channels, including cashback, so they can collect the cash, which it is a new service for us. The other one is the installment capability. That is also something very important for the customers, because that's no government will give you an installment. They will give it to you if you are in the jail, but if you are in normal business, they will not give you that. They will not relieve, because there is a financial system. So you need to partner with someone. You need to partner with the business outside, and that's very important. So they can provide the service. You get your money. They do their business as well. They take maybe some percentage, but they open more channels for the customers to make them happy. Because not all of the customers, they have credit cards. Not all of the customer, they have a mobile payment capability. Yeah. And some of them, they have to transfer a huge cash, which it is not practically to be done. They want to make sure they transfer it to the right people. Okay, that's handover area. You hand over 5 dirhams is simple, but if you hand over 500,000 dirhams, I think you will take your family with you. That's what will happen. Yes, everyone have to see what is happening. That's 500,000 dirhams. Where it will go, I want a receipt for that. That is make big sense.
Perfect. Okay. Very, very valuable feedback from Mr. Yusuf. Now, Mr. Osama, I would like to ask about your the digital priorities. So, maybe in your organization, you have a lot of processes which can be digitized and automated. So, what will be your preference? What factors would you consider to digitize the service?
Okay, so the good news that DHA in 2016 launched its own what we call transformation strategy for 2016-2021. It included around 15 programs. One of these programs was named Technology and Medical Informatics. So we put there around 13 initiatives. Most of these initiatives are focusing on the patient satisfaction, patient happiness, in a way that we decided that now DHA is not responsible of DHA patients. I'm talking about the 4 hospitals that we own as DHA, but also we regulate around 36 hospitals and almost 2,000 SMEs. So this is a lot of work. And we want to make sure that patients who normally traverse across the ecosystem, they need their data to follow them wherever they go. So today I have a record at Rashid Hospital and I have another record at the American Hospital. Yes. But actually what's happening is that the American Hospital doctor doesn't see my data within DHA. So this is a very big problem, because for me as a doctor, to give you the best advice, I need to have a 360 view of your data, which is not there now. So we decided that our priority should be to develop what we call a unified medical record, where there is a system that every piece of information about me in every hospital in Dubai will be centralized in one place, and it will be viewed in a way that helps doctors to make fast decisions about my care and care process. So because of that, we launched in 2016 a project called NABID. So NABID is a health information exchange where we have all the data centralized in one place. It's not all your data, but the most important portions of them, which allows doctors to make informed decisions. So this is one of the key projects that we are working on. Well, the second one, which is the DHA system, we call it Salama, which is the electronic medical record. So this is the system that connects all 4 hospitals and 25 centers under DHA.
Okay. So since you mentioned health information exchange and electronic patient record, and worldwide there have been multiple implementations for the same, and there have been some unsuccessful cases. So what do you think were the main causes of that failures, and how here in Dubai Health Authority you will be able to mitigate those risks or those?
Yes, so there are so many risks around that. The first one is privacy and security for sure. So even now I know, so in the first model I know the hospital, I go to the doctor, so I trust the doctor and the hospital because the data is confined in one place. But now if I have my data shared across several hospitals, then me as a patient, now I have a right to decide who should have access to my data. This is one part. But the other most important part is that I want to ensure that nobody but those people who are actually accessing my data. So now we have technologies like blockchain now can work, fit very well in this, because it can give you a way to ensure that nobody but my care team can see the data within this shared platform.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Now I would like to refer to Ms. Shirley. Regarding the online transaction versus face-to-face transaction, still I would say that people are reluctant to opt for online, to follow the online digital process. So what do you think, what are the factors due to which they are reluctant, and how can we encourage them to participate more, to do the same transaction online rather than going to customer service center?
Well, I don't think it's a really easy one to answer, and I guess if these were easy challenges, we wouldn't be here talking about them today, would we? I think what's important to remember is that you can't ever have a one-size-fits-all approach, certainly not in the city that I work in. While some people will be willing to do things online, not everybody will, and I think certainly there's some merit in the incentivisation that we've talked about before, giving people a reason to go to do something online as opposed to doing it how they would do it before. Maybe that's some sort of discount. Maybe once they've done it that way, they'll soon realise that that's better for them and speed things up. One particular challenge that I'm working on at the moment with some people in my team is around something called a concessionary bus pass. So everybody in the UK who reaches state pensionable age is entitled to a pass that allows them to travel on the public transport network on the buses for free. But the way, obviously, that implies that the people that are using those bus passes are of a certain age. Now, without wishing to cast aspersions here, those people are generally likely to be less digitally able than those younger people that are accessing those types of services. So we're looking at a system at the moment because it's going to be much cheaper and much more cost effective to the organisation to be able to issue those passes all digitally by people requesting them online and them being automatically sent to them. But the reality of this is that not everybody will be able to use that service. So we're looking at compromises to see how best we can make this service work for everyone. And even if you did go down the route of issuing those passes online, people do have a tendency to lose things like this as well. So how do you renew passes and that type of technology for people? So it's never that straightforward. It doesn't make it impossible. And the idea, the sort of direction of travel that we're aiming for, really is to make the simple things simple, so that we have time to deal with the more complex things in our city. So if for the majority of people who would find it easier, once it's proven to them that it works, that a digital service is better for them, then we can get rid of a lot of the stuff that takes up our day-to-day capacity within the council. And that means that with this time we have left, we can actually spend more intensively with people, actually teaching them how to do things for the future. So for those that don't have access to digital services at the moment, rather than just completing a form for them when they come into our reception because they haven't been able to do it at home, we can sit down with them and go through the form together and make sure that in the future they're able to do that for themselves. So it really, I quite like that phrase. It is about making the simple stuff in life as simple as it can be, and then really freeing up time to do the more complex stuff with people.
Thank you. I think now we can, to our audience, if they have any questions to our panelists.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. If you've got any questions, would you let us have your name, your company, and your question? If not, then I will bring it back to the panelists, maybe to do a summary of what has been spoken about, what has been learnt, and what our audience can take away.
So it was a very useful discussion that Mr. Yusuf has given some case studies from his organization, and how he has successfully transformed many business processes with a very useful ROI, and it has helped many citizens and organizations, and still he is expecting more to come. It will help more citizens in terms of saving their time and money, as well as Mr. Osama has pointed out about his initiatives which he has taken in Dubai Health Authority for especially the health information exchange. It will really, I think, benefit the region, because in this in worldwide there are very few implementations of health information exchange. If it is done, it will really help citizens, patients, as well as government. So the patient data will not have to be duplicated across all hospitals and clinics, and being a health regulator, they can draw some useful conclusions, and they can also, I believe, prevent a lot of frauds and insurance scams, etc. So this will really, it will be a big, very challenging, yeah.
From the technology perspective, yes, from the legal perspective, and from the operation perspective.
Yes, there is still in Abu Dhabi also there is some effort is going on, but it's just in the initial stages. So probably, I think we will see more first implementation of electronic patient record in Dubai. So I think this is all over from my side. We can, if there is no question answer, we can finalize.